image-generating AI and anti-racist art history teaching. While most concern and excitement over the effects of emerging AI tools on education has been focused on text-generating large language models, developments in image-generating AI tools should not be overlooked for their potential to provide learning opportunities in higher ed humanities teaching. In an introductory humanities course for first-year college students, I wondered, what are the affordances and limitations of using examples of AI-generated images to help students interrogate concepts of remixing and representation in contemporary art and art history? In a unit based on lectures by UCI Professor of Art History and African American Studies, Bridget Cooks, I've guided students in my small writing seminars to explore for themselves the consequential differences between the repurposing and remaking of historical iconography by contemporary Black artists like Titus Kaphar and the generation of text-prompted images by AI. Teaching inclusively, especially from the position of people like me who benefit from white privilege, requires not only the provision of equitable access, but also an actively anti-racist, anti-sexist, and anti-transphobic, anti-homophobic pedagogy. Just as large language models tend on their own, without the human labor of feedback, to parrot the offensive language of their internet data sources, image-generating diffusion models tend to reproduce visual stereotypes. In 2022, OpenAI admitted invisibly adding prompt terms such as, quote, Black man, or, quote, Asian woman, to image generation requests in order to counteract the clear tendencies of DALL-E to overrepresent white men. Artist Titus Kaphar and Sanford Biggers remixed the physical materials and iconographic content of art history in order to reframe, repair, and in the words of Kaphar, amend the racist history of representation. In a very different mode of making visible, the synthetic images generated by diffusion models stochastically reproduce and even concentrate biases, while in the process disregarding the privacy of image subjects and the ownership of creators. As artist Tito Steil points out, they replace likenesses with likelinesses. In early 2023, to open a conversation about the history of Black representation in Euro-American art, I shared with students reports and examples of the racist, sexist, and heteronormative biases replicated in images generated by text-image AI or image-prompted AI. Some students shared that they had tried out TikTok image AI filters that changed their own faces. A few were engaged in the more philosophical question of what counts as art. Interestingly, students were most vocally concerned about creative originality and what they saw as the unfair use of art images in AI training without the creator's permission. Building on these concerns without trying to resolve their complexity, I asked students to start using the techniques of visual analysis they were learning, composition, iconography, style, materials, and genre, to look systematically at synthetic images. That discussion served as a kind of warm-up before we devoted extensive time to applying these techniques, as well as new knowledge about political historical contexts, to the analysis of mixed media artworks by contemporary Black artists. What are further potentials for critical looking and thinking about the power dynamics of image-generating AI? Students might experiment with prompting freely accessible tools such as the MidJourney bot on Discord, and then critically compare the outputs, using their growing visual and media literacy to discover patterns of significance and trace the social roots of these representational tendencies. Maybe we could even retrain a model to shift it in the direction of a better visual world. Increasing awareness of the algorithmic biases shaping students' media landscapes might help us think together about possibilities for constructive resistance in the practice of artists and scholars.